On Global TV News Prime, Defense Headquarters confirms death of terrorist soldiers in Borno attack. In Business Central Bank of Nigeria eyes development finance institutions recapitalization to close 130 trillion naira gap. And on the foreign scene, United States Vice President cautions Iran against allowing the fragile Middle East ceasefire to collapse. In sports stories, Nigerian Football Federation tips Super Eagles to retain London Unity Cup. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television, coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Jumai Manson. A quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now the news in full. The Defense Headquarters has confirmed that terrorists and military personnel were killed when insurgents launched a coordinated attack on the 29th Task Force Brigade headquarters in Beni Sheikh, Borno State. In a statement by the Director, Defense Media Operations, Major General Michael Onoja, the attack occurred hours morning and when insurgents attempted to breach the defensive perimeter of the military installation. He said troops of Operation Harikei, led by the brigade commander, responded with exceptional courage, professionalism, and superior firepower, forcing the attackers to retreat. The military, however, did not confirm or debunk reports that the commander of the 29th Brigade, Brigadier General Oseni Burma, was among those killed in the incident. Fresh fears over insecurity in Nigeria's northeast have resurfaced as stakeholders raises alarm over renewed attacks across Chibok local government area of Borno State. Samuel Odi reports for Global TV News.
Over the years, Chibok axis has experienced repeated violence with hundreds reportedly killed and many communities abandoned due to insecurity and lack of access to farmland. At a press briefing in Abuja, the stakeholders condemned what it described as a disturbing wave of violence targeting communities in Chibok axis, warning that residents are once again living under constant threat.
The tragic abduction of our schoolgirls on April 14, 2014 remains an open wound to all people of Chibok nationality. To this day, nearly 100 of them are still unrescued or accounted for. Sadly, the horror has not stopped. Within the last week alone, our community has experienced multiple coordinated attacks.
Stakeholders appealed to government authorities to establish permanent military bases in strategic border communities, deploy additional troops, and provide humanitarian assistance to displaced persons. It also called for stronger support for trained community vigilantes and improved access for humanitarian organizations while commending security forces for their ongoing effort in the affected areas.
We urgently request the establishment of permanent military and joint security formations in strategic border communities between Chibok local government, Dambo local government, and Askra Uba local government areas.
Members of Chibok says it will continue to engage relevant authorities until lasting security is restored as residents of Chibok hope for urgent intervention to end the renewed cycle of violence. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
In a separate midnight attack on 3 communities in Sambon-Brini local government area of Sokoto State, bandits have killed 5 people and kidnapped 22 others. A source said that the attack occurred between 11 p.m. and 12 a.m. in Sabon-Birnin Town, Dan Adawa and Kwerin Gamba. In Sabon-Birnin Town, the gunmen attacked through Sabon-Hagi quarters, an outskirt area entering from the western side of a cemetery and shooting sporadically, causing panic in the communities. Meanwhile, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, has reaffirmed the commitment of the Nigerian Police Force to stronger, more effective partnership with the Police Community Relations Committee, PCRC. Now, this follows a courtesy visit by a high-powered PCRC delegation to the force headquarters in Abuja, led by its national chairman, Mogaji Ibrahim Olaniyan, alongside members of the National Executive Committee and regional representatives. Kike Lomo Okere has details.
The Police Community Relations Committee leadership congratulated Inspector General of Police on his appointment, pledging continued loyalty and support while commending his recognition of the committee's critical role in national security.
Where you are, give us, and the purpose is to join hand in giving information to the Nigeria Police and show love. What we lost in this country is love, and the PCRC, we are ready and we will continue to facilitate that.
In his response, the Inspector General of Police, Olatunji Disu, praised the PCRC contribution to grassroots policing and reaffirmed the force's readiness to deepen collaboration for improved security nationwide. He issued a firm directive mandating strict accountability, warning that PCRC identification must never be misused and should be limited to legitimate duties, especially intelligence work, while all members must remain law-abiding and disciplined all times.
We plead with you to keep your eyes on even some members of the PCRC who would not like to contribute. We just like to flaunt the police ID card even while doing something wrong. Talk to every member to continue to assist us and not be on the wrong side of the law.
The engagement underscores ongoing efforts by the Nigerian Police Force to strengthen community-based policing and build a more responsive national security framework. Kike Lomo Okere, Global Television News.
Meanwhile, to strengthen security across Plateau State Governor Caleb Mutfwang has convened a high-level security meeting to strengthen peaceful coexistence and security across the state. The meeting, attended by heads of security agencies and local government chairmen, reviewed the security situation and developed strategies to prevent further breaches. Commissioner of Police Basi Ewon noted that the curfew in Jos North local government has been adjusted to run from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. The commissioner added that the existing restrictions, including bans on commercial motorcycles and regulated tricycle movements, remain in force. Away from security matters now, the Independent National Electoral Commission INEC says it has recovered over 3.4 million million votes in the ongoing second phase of the continuous voters registration exercise nationwide. Now, according to the Commission's Week 13 update released in Abuja, a total of 3,441,121 registrations have been completed as of April 3rd. Covering both online pre-registrations and physical walk-ins. INEC disclosed that 2,068,304 citizens completed their registration online, while 1,362,737 others registered physically at designated centers across the country. Over now to the Court of Appeal in Abuja has voided the January 19th judgment by Justice Emeka Uwete of a Federal High Court, Abuja, recognizing Dr. Sadiq Umar Abubakar Gombe as the authentic national chairman of the Social Democratic Party, SDP. The judgment, delivered with a certified true copy (CTC) seen was on appeal filed by Fayemi Tosin Babatunde, who claimed to have wanted to contest the next governorship election in Ekiti State as an SDP aspirant. A three-member panel of the appellate court, led by Justice Abba Mohammed, was unanimous in holding that the tri-court judge erred in reaching the said decision. Youths in their numbers under the aegis of the coalition of Goodluck Jonathan stormed the residence of former President Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja, urging him to contest the 2027 presidential election. And the rally, which was held in the Maitama district of the Federal Capital Territory, disrupted traffic as the demonstrations chanted slogans, danced, and displayed placards calling on Jonathan to return to active politics. Anita Patrick reports.
The chants echoed in Nigeria's capital as hundreds of youths marched to the residence of the former president, Goodluck Jonathan, urging him to contest the 2027 presidential election. Under the banner of the Coalition for Goodluck Jonathan, the demonstrators flooded Taraba Close, singing, dancing, and waving placards in a show of support that disrupted traffic for hours, with messages on their banners ranging from appeals to urgency, calling on the former leader to save Nigeria and return to active politics.
Nigerians have asked us to plead with him to come to the rescue of our nation by declaring interest to contest for the presidency in 2027.
The group says it spent 6 months consulting across the country, insisting Jonathan remains a unifying figure capable of tackling Nigeria's political and economic challenges.
We have tested 2 presidents, and then his record is still outshining the former, which is the late president, and then the present president. There was a protest to remove the president then, Goodluck Ebele Jonathan.
Democracy has gone, and that's why we are here, for him to restore the democracy of our country. We know what is happening in our area. People are not in their homes. We cannot sleep with our eyes. Most of us have been destabilized. At least, if we can have somebody like him, who has the people and the country of and our country in his mind, we definitely know that this country will be in a good shape.
But after waiting for more than 3 hours, the protesters left disappointed, unable to meet the former president, who was reportedly absent at the time. The rally adds to a growing wave of calls from political groups and diaspora organizations pushing for Jonathan's return ahead of 2027. Recall that similar campaign emerged in 2022 when supporters even purchased presidential nomination forms on his behalf, sparking legal and political debates over his eligibility. For now, he remains silent, but as 2027 draws closer, the calls for his comeback are only getting louder. Anita Patrick reporting for Global TV News.
In the meantime, Murtala Sule Garo has emerged as the leading contender in the race to replace former Kano State Deputy Governor Aminu Abdulsalam Gwarzo following his resignation, which has triggered intense political arrangements across the state. Sources within the All Progressive Congress say Garo is gaining strong backing, driven by his grassroots influence and deep understanding of Kano's political landscape. A former commissioner for local government and deputy governorship candidate in 2023, Garo is widely seen as a key political mobilizer with significant control at ward and local government levels. His supporters believe his emergence will straighten Governor Abba Kabir's use of political structure ahead of the 2027 elections. Other influential contenders are Jibril Ismail Falgore, Kabir Ado Lakwaya, Saliu Sagir Tekir, and Hajia Sa'adatu Ushufuyus Salisu. Nigeria's broadcast industry took center stage in Abuja as key players gathered to celebrate excellence, innovation, and resilience at the prestigious Broadcasting Organization of Nigeria, BON, awards and dinner ceremony. Now, the event brought together government officials, media executives, and practitioners in a night that not only honored outstanding contributions, but also spotlighted the critical role of broadcasting in shaping national unity and democratic values. Samuel Odi completes the report.
Ceremony held in a vibrant atmosphere of glamour and reflection featured awards across multiple categories recognizing excellence in news reporting, newscasting, programming, and broadcast innovation. Delivering his remark, The Minister of Information and National Orientation, Mohammed Idris, commended broadcasters for their resilience amid evolving challenges in the media landscape. He reaffirmed the federal government's commitment to supporting a free, responsible, and technological advanced media sector.
To remain steadfast in upholding the highest ethical standards, embracing innovation, and using the power of broadcasting to promote unity, development, and national progress.
The minister further stressed the need for ethical journalism, especially in an era of misinformation and digital disruption. Also speaking at the event, the governor of Zamfara State, Dauda Lawal, who was among the dignitaries honored, highlighted the importance of the media in promoting peace and development, particularly in regions facing security challenges.
I believe the media has a role to play in shaping everything that we do, not just in Nigeria, but all over the world. That shapes the way we do things, and that also puts some check and balances in terms of what we do, especially people like us that are politicians. They're always looking for one thing or the other.
The award ceremony also served as a platform for industry stakeholders to reflect on the future of broadcasting in Nigeria, with emphasis on digital transformation, capacity building, and regulatory reforms. As the curtain fell on the evening, stakeholders left with renewed commitment to uphold professionalism and leverage broadcasting as a tool for national development, even as the industry continues to evolve in a fast-changing global media landscape. Samuel Odi for Global Television News.
Bayelsa State Government has declared Friday a work-free day and ordered the closure of markets ahead of the visit of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to the state. The State Commissioner for Information Orientation and Strategy, Abowo Koka Obayi, disclosed this in Yanangwa, the state capital. Now, according to her, Tinubu is expected to inaugurate key projects during the visit, including a state-owned gas turbine at Opolo Elebele, a 60-kilometer dual carriageway from Onokpa to LNG access, and a 630-meter bridge linking Angama to Oporoma in the southern Ijaw local government area. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime. News Prime continues after this weather forecast, plus business, foreign, and sports stories on the other side of this break. Please stay with us.
Thanks for joining us. We begin in the north, where visibility remains a key concern. Dust still lingers in the atmosphere across the extreme northern states. So expect hazy skies, reduced visibility to carry through much of the day. Moving into the central region, we are seeing a calmer pattern. Rainfall activities is expected to ease off, giving way to clearer skies with just a few passing clouds. Overall, a more settled and pleasant weather is expected across the central. Down south, however, conditions turn more active. Inland areas, including Edo Delta, some parts of Ondo, Ogun, Oyo, and parts of Taraba, can expect generally cloudy skies with chances of light to moderate rainfall along the coast. Heavier rains is expected. Coastal cities in parts of Cross River, Akwa Ibom, some parts of Delta, Rivers should prepare for moderate to heavy rainfall, particularly during the evening hours. And that's it from this end. Join us again.
You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, this is News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. Now, in business now, the Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed plans to recapitalize and restructure developing finance institutions, DFIs, as part of efforts to address a widening financing gap facing micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs. This was revealed by the Deputy Governor for Economic Policy at the CBN, Mohammed Sani Abdullahi, during a panel session at the launch of the Nigerian Development Update by the World Bank in Abuja. Abdullahi said, a recent review by the Apex Bank showed that the current size of DFIs is inadequate, relative to the credit needs of businesses. Now over to the federal government has called for the expansion of the Murphy Real Estate Investment Fund to make affordable housing more accessible to Nigerians as part of effort to tackle the country's housing deficit. And the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, made the call while receiving a delegation from the Murphy Real Estate Investment Fund following a presentation on the program's progress and impact. In a statement from the ministry's ex-handle, Edun described the initiative as a strong example of how innovation and collaboration can address major national challenges, particularly in the housing sector. He said, the government is focused on scaling the fund to reach more Nigerians, especially low and middle income earners who struggle to access affordable housing. The World Bank has stated its opinion on the federal government's plan to settle the 3.3 trillion naira debt owed to power generating companies, with the bank noting that the initiative effectively converts long-standing liabilities in the electricity sector into sovereign debt obligations that must be fully recognized in Nigeria's fiscal accounts. This position was contained in its latest Nigerian development update titled Nigeria's Tomorrow Must Start Today. The case for early childhood development, where the global lenders stress that the structure of the program places a direct and recurring burden on government finances despite offering short-term liquidity relief to the electricity value chain. Now, under subsection titled Treating the Sovereign Guaranteed Bond Program as Public Debt, the World Bank examined the federal government's plan to resolve legacy arrears owed to power generation companies and gas suppliers through a scrutinization framework backed by sovereign guarantees. On the foreign scene now, United States Vice President J.D. Vance has cautioned Iran against allowing the fragile Middle East ceasefire to collapse over Israeli military operations in Lebanon, describing the situation as a misunderstanding that could derail ongoing diplomatic efforts. Mukhtar Kashim reports.
Speaking during a visit to Hungary, Vance said the United States never included Lebanon in the ceasefire agreement with Tehran, even as Iran insists that halting attacks there is key to sustaining the truce. His remarks come ahead of planned high-level talks in Pakistan, where Washington hopes to stabilize the region following days of intense fighting and renewed Israeli strikes in Lebanon.
I think the Iranians thought that the ceasefire included Lebanon, and it just didn't. We never made that promise. We never indicated that was going to be the case. What we said is that the ceasefire would be focused on Iran, and the ceasefire would be focused on America.
And despite the ceasefire, Israeli strikes in Lebanon have reportedly killed over 100 people, raising tensions and threatening to undermine negotiations. Although United States officials say Israel has signaled a willingness to exercise restraint, Washington maintains that the success of the truce depends on both sides sticking strictly to the agreed terms, particularly around strategic commitments like the reopening key oil global routes.
Look, if Iran wants to let this negotiation fall apart in a conflict where they were getting hammered over Lebanon, which has nothing to do with them and which the United States never once said was part of the ceasefire, that's ultimately their choice. We think that would be dumb, but that's their choice.
And Vance also reiterated that President Donald Trump expects Iran to honor its commitment to reopen the Strait of Hormuz as the upcoming Islamabad talks involving United States envoys aim to test whether the ceasefire can hold amid mounting regional pressure. Mukhtar Kasim, reporting for Global TV News.
Britain says it has tracked and seen off 3 Russian submarines on an alleged month-long covert operation in Atlantic waters north of the UK near vital undersea cables and pipelines. Disclosing details of the joint mission with Norway and other unspecific allies, British Defence Secretary John Hurley stated that there was no evidence the Russian vessels had damaged the subsea infrastructure. Zarau Nasser has the rest of the report.
Defense Secretary Healy said Britain and its allies monitored on Akula-class Russian nuclear forward attack submarine and 2 specialist submarines from Russia's main Directorate of Deep Sea Research as they sailed in and around wider UK waters. He also said he was unveiling details of the monitoring operation, which involved British warships and military aircraft, to call out Russian activity and send Putin a message.
We watched them. We were able to track them. We dropped sonar buoys to demonstrate to them that we were monitoring every hour of their operation. And because we were watching them, we wanted to ensure that we could warn them that their covert operation had been exposed and reduce the risk that they may attempt any action that could damage our pipelines or our cable.
The mission, involving around 500 British personnel, saw UK aircraft fly more than 450 hours, while a Navy frigate covered several thousand nautical miles. Separately, Healy responded to criticism in the Daily Telegraph that London was not making good on recent threats to stop sanctioned vessels from Russia's sanctions, boasting shadow fleet from transiting through UK waters. Zahra Nasr, reporting for Global TV News.
Sports stories now. The Super Eagles of Nigeria will begin their title defense at the 2026 Unity Cup with a semi-final clash against Zimbabwe on May 26 in London. The four-nation tournament, which also features Jamaica and India, returns to its holistic venue after the success of the 2025 edition in Brentford, where Nigeria emerged champions. The championship, scheduled to run from May 26th to 30th, blends elite football with cultural celebration, bringing together Afrocentric and global diaspora communities. Now, in another development, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has issued a declaration of intent ahead of the 2026 Unity Cup, with President Ibrahim Musa Gusau affirming that the Super Eagles are coming to London to retain their crown. The premier international tournament, which celebrates Afrocentric and global diaspora communities, officially returns to its holistic home at the Valley from the 26th to 30th May 2026. The four-nation knockout competition will feature continental heavyweights Nigeria, Jamaica, Zimbabwe, and India in a revamped format. Following Nigeria's 2025 triumph at Brentford, NFF President Ibrahim Musa Gusau made this clear that the Super Eagles expect to maintain their status as the tournament's dominant force. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has responded to growing pressure from players of the 2023 and 2025 Flying Eagles squad of a massive backlog of unpaid bonuses and allowances. General Secretary Mohammed Salisu confirmed that the Federation is currently working to offset the debt, though he noted that the payments would likely be made in installments rather than a single lump sum. This administrative move reportedly aims to reduce the Federation's liabilities ahead of its upcoming elective Congress to prevent the issue from becoming a political tool. The outcry involves two generations of Nigerians under 20 team who are seeking settlement for a 6 major tournament over the past 3 years, including Wafu B Cup, Under 20 AFCON, and the Under 20 World Cup. And that's it on News Prime. Here is a recap of our top stories again. Brought to you that the Defense Headquarters has confirmed that the terrorists and military personnel were killed when insurgents launched a coordinated attack on the 29th Task Force Brigade headquarters in Beni Sheikh, Borno State. And in business, we said the Central Bank of Nigeria has disclosed plans to recapitalize and restructure development finance institutions as part of efforts to address a widening financing gap facing micro, small, and medium enterprises, MSMEs. And on the foreign scenes, the United States Vice President J.D. Vance has cautioned Iran against allowing the fragile Middle East ceasefire to collapse over Israeli military operations in Lebanon, describing the situation as misunderstanding that could derail ongoing diplomatic efforts. And finally, in sports, the Nigerian Football Federation (NFF) has issued a declaration of intent ahead of the 2026 Unity Cup, with President Ibrahim Musa Gusau affirming that the Super Eagles are coming to London to retain their crown. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365 and Star Times channel 276. Now kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using @Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.